Tutankhamun. The name itself echoes through history, conjuring images of ancient Egypt's enigmatic past. But who was this boy king, and why does his story continue to fascinate the world even today? His tomb's discovery was one of the most significant archaeological moments ever, yet it raises more questions than it answers. In today's video, we will uncover the mysteries surrounding King Tut, explore the controversy around his life and death, and dive into the secrets his tomb holds. Let's begin with a bit of context. Tutankhamun ascended the throne over 3,300 years ago during the New Kingdom period of ancient Egypt. His reign began around 1332 BCE, and he ruled for just a decade, dying at the age of 19. He was one of the last kings of the 18th dynasty, a time marked by great turmoil and change. But how did a young boy, barely out of childhood, come to rule one of history's most powerful civilizations? The story starts with his father, Akhenaten, one of Egypt's most controversial pharaohs. Akhenaten attempted a religious revolution, abandoning the traditional gods in favor of Aten, the sun disk. This upheaval didn't sit well with the deeply spiritual and conservative Egyptian people, particularly the powerful priests of Amun. After Akhenaten's death, the country was in chaos. Temples lay in ruin, and the traditional way of life had been shattered. Into this turmoil stepped Tutankhamun, a child king. When Tutankhamun took the throne, his advisors quickly acted to undo his father's changes. The boy king even changed his name from Tutankhaten, meaning living image of Aten, to Tutankhamun, living image of Amun, signaling a return to traditional beliefs. The temples were restored, the gods appeased, and stability slowly returned to Egypt. Yet despite these significant acts, Tutankhamun's own life remains cloaked in mystery. One of the great enigmas of Tutankhamun is the question of his lineage. We know he was likely the son of Akhenaten, but his mother's identity remains uncertain. Genetic testing has suggested she was Akhenaten's sister, which may explain some of the health issues Tutankhamun suffered. Incestuous relationships among the pharaohs were common, intended to keep the royal bloodline pure, but this often led to genetic disorders. Evidence from his mummy suggests that Tutankhamun was physically frail. He had a club foot, walked with a cane, and suffered from a host of ailments, including malaria. But how did Tutankhamun die? This question has intrigued historians, archaeologists, and scientists for nearly a century and remains one of the most hotly debated mysteries in Egyptology. Initially, theories surrounding the young pharaoh's demise pointed to foul play, with suspicions of murder being at the forefront. The most compelling piece of evidence supporting this notion was a fracture discovered on Tutankhamun's skull. When British archaeologist Howard Carter first unearthed the mummy in 1922, this damage was considered a possible sign of a violent death. Speculation ran wild, with many imagining a palace coup, perhaps orchestrated by ambitious rivals or high-ranking officials who had much to gain from the young king's sudden demise. The narrative of assassination was compelling, given the political instability of Tutankhamun's reign. As a boy king, he was heavily reliant on powerful advisors, including Ai, who would later become pharaoh, and General Horemheb, who wielded considerable influence in the kingdom. These were men with motives, according to some theories, and the idea that Tutankhamun might have been struck down in a struggle for power seemed plausible. The allure of this theory was irresistible, especially in a time when ancient Egypt's history seemed to brim with tales of treachery, betrayal, and hidden conspiracies. However, as science advanced, so did our understanding of Tutankhamun's mummy. In the early 2000s, a team of researchers conducted a series of advanced CT scans, examining the mummy in unprecedented detail. These scans revealed that the fracture on Tutankhamun's skull was unlikely to have been inflicted during his lifetime. Instead, experts concluded that the damage was most probably caused post-mortem, potentially during the embalming process, or even centuries later when the mummy was handled and examined. This discovery challenged the long-held belief of murder and shifted the focus to other possible causes of death. If Tutankhamun wasn't murdered, then what could have led to his untimely demise at the age of just 19? The CT scans provided additional clues. They revealed a serious fracture in his left thigh bone, which appeared to have been sustained shortly before his death. The break was severe, and given the state of ancient Egyptian medicine, Such an injury could have had catastrophic consequences. Infection was a constant and deadly threat in the ancient world. Without antibiotics or sterile medical techniques, even a relatively minor wound could turn fatal. In Tutankhamun's case, a broken leg could have led to a severe, life-threatening infection, such as sepsis, which might have ultimately claimed his life. Yet the mysteries don't end there. Tutankhamun's physical condition was far from robust. Studies of his DNA have revealed that the young king suffered from a host of genetic disorders, likely the result of inbreeding within the royal family. It was a common practice among Egyptian pharaohs to marry close relatives in order to preserve the purity of their bloodline, but this came at a cost. Tutankhamun's parents, believed to be siblings, passed down a series of genetic defects that left him vulnerable. Analysis of his remains suggests he had a cleft palate and a curved spine, and he was afflicted with choler disease, a painful bone disorder that likely left him limping and requiring the use of a cane. In fact, over 130 walking sticks were found in his tomb, a poignant reminder of the physical challenges he faced. Furthermore, DNA testing has provided evidence that Tutankhamun suffered from malaria, a disease that was prevalent in ancient Egypt. Some experts believe that his already weakened immune system, compromised by genetic disorders and a physically frail constitution, would have struggled to combat the effects of a severe malaria infection. It's even possible that his broken leg, combined with a malarial infection, created a perfect storm of health complications that led to his early death. All these findings paint a picture of a young ruler beset by numerous health issues, living in an era where even the smallest injury or illness could prove fatal. It is now widely believed that a combination of factors, rather than a single catastrophic event, led to Tutankhamun's demise. The most accepted theory suggests that he sustained a broken leg, which became infected, and the infection, exacerbated by malaria and his already compromised health, ultimately claimed his life. This multifaceted explanation has gained traction among researchers, who see it as a more plausible and scientifically grounded scenario. Despite his brief and seemingly unremarkable reign, Tutankhamun might have been forgotten to history, buried among the pantheon of Egyptian rulers, had it not been for the discovery of his tomb in 1922. British archaeologist Howard Carter unearthed the tomb in the Valley of the Kings, and what he found was beyond his wildest dreams. The tomb was filled with thousands of priceless artifacts: golden statues, chariots, weapons, and, most famously, the golden death mask of Tutankhamun. But what makes this discovery so extraordinary? The answer lies in the fact that Tutankhamun's tomb was the only royal burial found almost entirely intact. Most other tombs in the Valley of the Kings had been looted centuries ago. The sheer wealth of objects found provided an unprecedented look into the opulence of Egypt's royal court. Yet even this tomb raises questions. Why was it so small compared to other pharaohs' burial chambers? Why was it hastily constructed? Some historians believe the tomb was intended for someone of lesser rank, but when Tutankhamun died suddenly, it was adapted to serve as his final resting place. Then there is the legend of the curse. When Carter's team opened the tomb, stories began circulating about a curse that would strike down anyone who dared to disturb the boy king's eternal rest. The sudden death of Lord Carnarvon, the expedition's financier, just months after the tomb was opened, only fueled these rumors. He died from an infected mosquito bite, and according to some accounts, when he passed away, all the lights in Cairo mysteriously went out. Other members of the team also experienced untimely deaths or misfortunes, adding to the legend. But is there any truth to the curse? Most scientists dismiss it as a combination of coincidence and media sensationalism. The idea of a curse is captivating, but the real danger likely lay in the bacteria and mold that had accumulated in the sealed tomb over millennia. Let's now talk about the treasures themselves. The golden death mask of Tutankhamun is perhaps the most iconic symbol of ancient Egypt. Weighing over 10 kilograms, it is made of solid gold and inlaid with precious stones like lapis lazuli and turquoise. The mask captures the youthful features of the boy king, and its craftsmanship reflects the incredible skill of ancient Egyptian artisans. But beyond its beauty, the mask carries a spiritual significance. It was meant to protect the pharaoh's spirit in the afterlife, ensuring his immortality. Another fascinating find was Tutankhamun's throne. Crafted from wood and covered in sheets of gold, the throne features a depiction of the young king and his queen, Tutankhamun, in an intimate moment. The scene is tender, showing the queen anointing her husband with perfume. This depiction contrasts sharply with the traditional, often formal representations of pharaohs. It gives us a glimpse into the more human, personal side of the young king's life. There were also practical items placed in the tomb, like chariots, beds, and a variety of foods and wine jars. The Egyptians believed in an afterlife that mirrored the world they knew, so Tutankhamun's tomb was equipped with everything he might need. But not everything was as it seemed. For example, some of the canopic jars that held Tutankhamun's internal organs were shaped in unusual ways, possibly suggesting rushed preparations. Scholars have also noted the presence of ritualistic objects that hint at attempts to ward off evil spirits or protect the king's soul from harm. The more we study Tutankhamun's tomb, the more we realize how many questions remain. Who exactly were the architects behind this burial? Were there rituals or secrets lost to time that we may never fully comprehend? And what about the hidden chambers? In 2015, radar scans suggested there might be undiscovered rooms behind the tomb's walls, possibly containing more treasures or even the burial of Queen Nefertiti. However, subsequent studies have cast doubt on this theory, leaving it one of the many tantalizing mysteries surrounding King Tut. Tutankhamun's story doesn't just end with his tomb. His legacy continues to captivate people around the globe. Exhibits showcasing his treasures have traveled to numerous countries, drawing millions of visitors. People are still enthralled by the golden artifacts and the enigma of the boy king who ruled one of history's greatest civilizations. As we unearth more secrets, Tutankhamun remains a powerful reminder of ancient Egypt's enduring allure, a civilization that reached extraordinary heights in science, art, and spiritual beliefs. So what do we make of Tutankhamun, the boy who became a god-king? His life was short, his reign marred by instability, and yet his afterlife has achieved a form of immortality that even the most powerful pharaohs might envy. As we continue to explore the Valley of the Kings, we must ask ourselves, how many more mysteries lie buried in the sands of Egypt, waiting to be revealed? Thank you for joining us on this journey through time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video if you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more stories from the past, and remember, history always has another secret to uncover.